Hello, beautiful person, beautiful world. I'm very congested right now because I'm fighting my sinuses and the pollen is trying to take me out, but we are here. So, today I just want to talk a little bit about forgiveness and just how I'm trying to incorporate that in my own life. I've always been the type of person where forgiveness is kind of difficult for me to incorporate in my life because I always preach forgiveness, but I'm always the type of person who also likes to hold grudges, which is unhealthy and problematic. So we're diminishing that trait in ourselves and replacing it with forgiveness and giving other people grace in order to also forgive ourselves and give ourselves grace. Because I feel like once we learn how to extend that energy to other people, it's easier for us to extend that energy to ourselves. And so I'm trying to find like little ways to incorporate in like my everyday way of living. And forgiveness isn't like a perfect healing process. It's going to be sometimes like where I forgive you, but you're still getting on my nerves, and that's okay. But it's like I feel like as long as we're taking the strides to get better at learning how to forgive other people and let things go, and not harbor negative energy or negative feelings towards other people, it allows us to really enjoy life and accept things for what they are. And something I was talking about a little while ago when I was reading The Voice of Knowledge, it's a Don Miguel Ruiz book. I've been kind of on like a binge of all his books because I've really been enjoying them. So I reread the Four Agreements, but it was like talking about how like our base form of existence is perfection, right? That's just how we come into the world. That's how God created us. That's how we're initially are. And once we realize that we already have that perfection within ourselves, and we forgive ourselves for anything we've done beyond just being, that's when we like begin to return to that form of perfection, right? And if once we're able to extend that forgiveness to other people, they're also be able to return to that basic state of being perfect. So once we remove all the negative thoughts or negative feelings that we have surrounding other people, we allow them to return to being perfect in how they're created and how they are. Like in real, like in a realistic point of view, like right, nobody is Jesus. Nobody is going to be able to do everything perfect, but we're all perfectly created in God's image. And once you realize that we're all on our own journeys and we're all doing the best that we can with the information that we have, it definitely allows us to extend like a lot more grace and understanding to other people, including ourselves. And there are a lot of times where I maybe didn't react the best way in a certain situation, or I might have gone a little crazy. And I looked at myself back and I was like, why was you doing that? But I have to forgive myself and let myself know that I might not have responded in the best way in this moment, but moving forward, I will, and I'll just be more aware of it. And once we have that awareness, it allows us to really shift how we maneuver and how we move into the world, if that makes sense. I think it makes sense. All right, so my camera died, so we're switching angles, but let's try this again. I had to understand like what forgiveness wasn't. Forgiveness wasn't like for a long time. I felt like, oh, I forgive people. I have to just let them continue to move in my life however they want to move. But more so, it's letting go of things and like understanding that holding on to those negative feelings is hurting yourself more than it's hurting anybody else. A lot of times when you're holding a grudge against somebody, they usually don't care. Like whenever somebody has a grudge against me, I honestly don't care. There's not really many people who can hold a grudge or negative feelings against me and I feel some type of way about it unless it's like my family or really close friends. And outside of that, it just kind of like is what it is. But also recognizing that for myself, just because I forgive somebody doesn't mean I have to just let them back into my life or I have to let them continue doing things the same way. A lot of times, if somebody does you wrong, that's a good opportunity for you to set a boundary and protect your own peace. And that peace might look like you never speaking to them again. But it's not you holding negative feelings against them for that. It's more so you just protecting your peace and whatever that looks like. Let's say somebody's relationship is really important to you, like one of your parents or an estranged cousin or something. Like I don't know, but however it relates back to you, you're like, this is somebody I definitely want to have in my life, but what they did really did hurt me. I feel like those are the perfect opportunities for you to have those hard discussions, hard conversations about like, I didn't like what you did to me, but I want us to be able to move forward. And I know for myself, again, I'm always the type of person who wants to hold grudges and hold negative energy towards other people. 'Cause I'm like, well, I'm removing your access to me, which in some ways is necessary, but a lot of times, again, I'm doing it to be kind of spiteful, which is counterproductive. And I'm just trying to find like new ways to allow myself to absolve people of their negative actions, or maybe were doing something they intend to do that was negative, right? Or negatively affected you. Like, let's say they were trying to do something they thought was protecting you, but it was more harmful than protection. And in those ways, it's important for us to like take their perspective and understand where they're coming from in order for us to have more empathy for them, but then also still holding them accountable and letting them know like, hey, what you did wasn't right, but I still forgive you and I still care about you. And it might shift the way your relationship is moving forward, but that doesn't mean you have to completely remove people from your life, because that is the way that we isolate ourselves. And I feel like that's like a big way that the world, society tries to entrap us like this mindset of like we're all alone, we gotta do everything on our own, and like it's us against the world. But really it's just like us with the world, but we're making the world our enemy because we can't let people in. And that's why we shouldn't like automatically go to holding grudges and negativity, because that causes more isolation than it does help or growth or moving into like a new chapter of who we're meant to be. And so I hope that this little nugget is able to help somebody else with their forgiveness or their journey with forgiveness and learning how to incorporate it in their own lives. Again, this is something that's very, I wouldn't even say new for me. It's like an ongoing process for me. It's something I'm like learning and unlearning and relearning throughout all the years. And it's going to be a lifelong lesson for me. I definitely realize that, because forgiveness is something I've always struggled with, and I probably always will struggle with it. But hey, through God, anything is possible. So right now, even though it's like a hard lesson, I feel like soon it's going to be like something that's automatic for me, where I'm like, but also I have to give myself some grace here. Because also I do see like a lot of moments where people might have done things that were what I felt like they were doing me wrong, but I was like, you know what? I still forgive you. I forgive you. I forgave them automatically, and I just like had to take a step back for myself and for my own peace. And I feel like even right now, I'm in like a chapter of where I'm like trying to find the best way to move forward with a lot of relationships in my life, and I'm having to take a step back to really see like what it is I value and need in my own life in this next chapter. So yeah, let go and let God. That's how we're gonna leave it off today. But until next time. Okay, but actually, real quick, the biggest point, I feel like the biggest takeaway from this video is definitely understanding that everybody is operating at the base level that they're at currently, right? Everybody's doing the best of what they have. They might not have the knowledge or the wisdom to move forward and give other people grace or forgive or just let God and let go. Let go and let God. You know what I mean? Same thing. But either way, it's up to us to have that same grace for them regardless, because that's the grace we want extended to us. And like the situations where we're wrong, or situations where we could have a lot more grace and empathy. So, yeah. I hope that people are always going to choose, I know it's hard, but choose the higher road. Forgive, let go, let God. Don't let people run you over. But forgive. It's okay. It's not worth it a lot of time. All right, now I'm out.